It's not. I never crossed the barrier. I was not trying to get a selfie. If I was trying to get a selfie, I think my injuries would be in a different place. The fence, I never expected actually the jaguar's paw to come through the fence. I mean, they're little squares, you know, and this cat has a big paw. I never thought that she'd be able to get her paw through the fence, and I never thought that she would reach out the fence to grab at me. I was never in the enclosure. I never passed the barrier, but I do admit to leaning over the barrier.
So what now with your relationship with the zoo? Because you have met with them and apologized.
Yes, so I met with them the next morning. I mean, we got released in the middle of the night from the hospital. I went straight to them the next morning. I asked if I could meet with them. I wanted to speak with them. I wanted to clear the air. I apologized to the zoo because they don't need this. They don't need the backlash, the media. I never went to the media. I never would have. I didn't want this big thing that's now apparently national. I grew up here. I go to the zoo all the time. I live close to the zoo. I take my kids to the zoo. I don't want that to change. I think equal parties have a play in this. I was in the wrong for leaning over the barrier, but I do think that maybe the zoo should look into moving their fence back. I was told that it's at federal regulation, but if that jaguar can get her paw through the fence and anybody can reach out, you know, I'm not the first, and if they don't move the fence, I'm probably not going to be the last. So I offered to start a donation, a collection, a fundraiser, whatever I can, to raise the money to move the fence back.
What have you, and how do you feel watching that video and seeing yourself in such a suffering state?
Well, like I said, it's humiliating, but it's also, I mean, it's not the whole story. It's not what happened before, and it's not what happened after. You know, that was the initial, I just got released from the cat's paws, you know, and they laid me down. I think if the video had gone on longer and people had seen the after, where I actually got up and walked to the golf cart, or even if people knew about what was said, the conversation with the zoo director the next day, I feel like this never would have came to this level.
And if there's one thing you want to make sure is cleared up about this whole thing, what would it be?
I never crossed the barrier. I just leaned over.
Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. So I would say the barrier was probably about this high, because I remember being right at my waist, or maybe a little lower. And then between the barrier and the fence where the jaguar is at is bushes, thorny bushes.
For about 3 feet.
Yeah, I don't have the exact measurements, but I had leaned over like this to take a picture, and I was probably about this far out. And again, admitting that I was too close to the fence.
Not expecting that the jaguar's paw comes out.
This paw to come out of the fence.
And so for how long were you in this tug of war leaning over the barrier?
I don't know exactly. You know, in that moment, you feel like it's eternity. My daughter said it was probably a good 3 to 5 minutes.
Wow.
Because she said that she was screaming for help for a good couple minutes before anybody even came.
And this is the point you want to make, that perhaps this barrier is too close, even if it meets federal guidelines.
I support the zoo. I just want to make sure that they make it safe for others.